The moment that really stayed with me wasn't when my son denied knowing me. It was what happened maybe 3 seconds after. One of his rich friends handed me an empty champagne glass without even looking at my face. That part did something to me. Not anger exactly. Honestly, it was worse than anger. It was that quiet feeling you get when somebody confirms what another person already implied about you. Like suddenly you become smaller in the room. I took the glass, too. That's the crazy part. I actually took it. Standing there in a white catering shirt at 58 years old while my own son smiled beside an infinity pool pretending I was part of the serving staff. And the kid didn't even hesitate. "Oh, him," he said casually. "He works events for the club." Smooth. Easy. Like he'd rehearsed it before. His friends nodded and moved on immediately because rich people are very good at ignoring anybody they think exists below eye level. I remember looking at Landon for maybe half a second. Just enough time to see it in his face. Not guilt. Fear. He was scared they'd know where he really came from. That hit harder than the lie itself. The house sat up in Newport Coast overlooking the water, all glass walls and expensive silence. One of those homes where everything looks untouched, like nobody actually lives there. Music floated through hidden speakers around the patio while young finance guys walked around talking about startup exits and ski trips in Aspen. Meanwhile I was holding a tray of smoked salmon appetizers trying not to let my hands shake. Funny thing is, part of me still wanted to protect him. Even then. That instinct doesn't really leave once you become a parent. Doesn't matter how old your kid gets. My name's Russell Dane. I spent 34 years working maintenance operations at Pelican Point Country Club in Orange County. Golf carts, plumbing disasters, electrical issues during weddings, rich members panicking because outdoor heaters weren't perfect enough for 65-degree weather. Nothing glamorous. But steady work. Honest work. My wife Elena used to say I had the patience of a tired saint. Pretty sure she meant it as a compliment. We lost her 8 years ago to cancer. After that, it was just me and Landon trying to figure out life without the person who made our apartment feel warm. Truth is, I probably spoiled him after she died. Not with money. We didn't have much of that. But with sacrifice. Big difference. I sold my fishing boat so he could study abroad in London for a semester. Worked Christmas doubles to help him keep up with wealthy classmates who treated $10,000 vacations like grocery runs. Never complained about any of it either. I was proud of the kid. Still am, honestly. Landon had this natural charisma people are born with. Teachers loved him. Wealthy club members remembered his name. He could sit at a table with executives at 19 years old and somehow make them feel comfortable. That talent opened doors. Private school recommendations. Internships. Networking dinners. And somewhere along the way, I think he started seeing me as the one thing that didn't fit into the picture he was building. At first it came out in little comments. "Dad, maybe don't wear your work jacket when you pick me up." Or, "You don't have to tell everybody exactly what you do." Then eventually, "These people are just different." Different. That word started showing up more and more. I understood some of it. I really did. Young people want acceptance. Especially around wealth. Around polished families with summer homes and last names that sound expensive. But there were moments that stayed with me. Like when I visited his apartment in San Diego and he quietly asked me to park my truck around the corner because his roommates drove luxury cars. I laughed it off at the time. Went home afterward and sat in the parking lot longer than usual though. Just thinking. After Elena died, silence became easier for me. Work helped. Routine helped. You wake up, drink coffee, fix whatever's broken, pay bills, sleep, repeat. Simple things keep grief from swallowing you whole. Meanwhile, Landon climbed higher every year. Finance consulting. Venture capital networking events. Rooftop bars where everybody looked 26 and somehow already exhausted. Whenever he called, his voice sounded polished. Controlled. Like somebody always aware they were being judged. Then came the party. Pelican Point got hired to help staff a private event at the house of Bryce Whitmore's son. Bryce Whitmore owned one of the largest commercial real estate firms in Southern California. Real old money influence. The kind where people lower their voices slightly when mentioning your name. I almost called out sick after seeing the address. Almost. But life doesn't usually give you the option of avoiding painful things. So there I was carrying trays through a side entrance. While my son stood near the pool wearing a blazer that probably cost more than my monthly rent. The bartender noticed what happened after Landon denied knowing me. He leaned toward me later and muttered, "Man, that was rough." I just shrugged. No big deal. But yeah. It was. Around an hour later I passed by the outdoor fire pit area and overheard Landon talking to two investors' sons. "My family's from old Monterey money," he said casually. I actually stopped walking for a second. Old Monterey money. Buddy, your grandfather fixed air conditioners for most of his life and ate canned soup 3 nights a week. One of the guys looked impressed. No kidding? Landon nodded without blinking. We keep things private. That's when something shifted inside me. Not rage. Just clarity. I realized my son wasn't lying because he hated me. He was lying because he hated feeling ordinary. And there's a difference. Still painful, though. I finished my shift quietly and helped load equipment into the catering van around midnight. Most of the younger staff looked uncomfortable around me by then. Word had spread. Landon came out to the parking area a few minutes later. Hands in his pockets. Jaw tight. "Dad." I kept stacking metal tray racks. "Hey." He exhaled slowly. "Look, don't make this into a thing." That sentence almost made me laugh out loud. Into a thing. Like humiliation only becomes real once somebody acknowledges it. "You told people I worked for you," I said. I just didn't want to explain everything. What exactly needed explaining? He rubbed the back of his neck. Same nervous habit he had since high school. "You don't understand how these people think." I looked at him under those parking lot lights for a long second. "No," I said quietly. "I think I understand perfectly." That landed. I could see it immediately. But pride's a dangerous thing once people build their identity around it. Instead of apologizing, he got defensive. "You're blowing this out of proportion." Maybe. Or maybe disrespect always sounds smaller coming from the person doing it. I drove home afterward with the windows cracked open even though the night air was cold. Just needed to feel something besides disappointment. The next morning started normally enough. Coffee at 5:30. Ocean fog hanging low over the golf course. Maintenance report sitting on my desk. Then my manager walked in looking tense. "You know Bryce Whitmore personally?" I shook my head slowly. "Not really." "Well, apparently he overheard your son talking at the party." Turns out Whitmore had been upstairs on the balcony during part of the night. And unlike most rich men I'd worked around, he hated fake status games. Guy built his company from scratch after growing up broke in Bakersfield. Took real offense to people pretending to come from invented wealth instead of earning something honestly. By Monday morning, Landon's internship offer from Whitmore Capital disappeared. Quietly. No dramatic email. No public humiliation. Just gone. And in those circles, silence spreads fast. Calls stopped coming. Invitations dried up. People who once treated him like family suddenly remembered they were busy. Funny world. 3 days later Landon showed up at my apartment looking exhausted. No expensive blazer this time. No polished confidence either. Just a tired kid standing outside my door trying to figure out how he got there. I let him in without saying much. He sat at the kitchen table Elena bought 15 years earlier from a clearance warehouse. Same little scratch near the corner where Landon dropped a science project in 8th grade. Memory sneaks up on you like that. After a while he finally said, "You already knew this would happen, didn't you?" Knew what? That they'd turn on me. I leaned against the counter quietly. "No," I said honestly. "I knew eventually you'd get tired of pretending." That broke something in him a little. His eyes watered though he tried hiding it. "I made you feel embarrassed." I nodded once. "Yeah," I said softly. "You did." No speech. No lecture. Just truth sitting there between us. Then after a long silence he whispered, "I don't even know when I started becoming this person. Honestly? I think I did. America teaches young men that status is survival. Bigger salary. Better friends. Better image. Better story. Eventually some people stop building lives and start building performances. Landon just got trapped inside his own. I poured us both coffee after that. We sat there talking for nearly 3 hours. Really talking. No networking voice. No pretending. Just my son again. At one point I told him how his mother used to brag about him to complete strangers at grocery stores. That finally made him laugh a little. A real laugh, too. Not the polished fake one I'd been hearing for years. Last week he came by the club after work. Walked straight through the maintenance area in front of everybody, shook my hand, then hugged me hard enough to make 2 assistant managers awkwardly look away. Before leaving, he glanced at my old work jacket hanging beside the office door. The same jacket he once wanted hidden. Then he smiled a little and said, "You know, Dad. I think I spent years trying to impress people who were never worth impressing." I didn't answer right away. Honestly, I didn't need to. Because sometimes the only thing stronger than humiliation is watching somebody you love finally become honest about who they are.